You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Beautiful day out. For right now, I see clouds coming. I know there's going to be rain. But that's okay. We need the rain, right? America always needs a good amount of rain. Listen, today our conversation is going to be about the United States economy. And we are going to talk about good news, not bad news. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
So yesterday, the president signed the North American, Canadian, Mexican trade agreement. Now that is expected to really grow the country because there are so many provisions in there that protects America and the products that we produce, the services we provide. It protects a lot of American businesses here, and it creates more work, more jobs, more inflow of money because of this agreement. Now, it was played politics there for a while because the Democrats were holding it and they held it and they held it and they held it. And then finally they had to let go of it because they had this impeachment thing going on. So they had to make themselves look good while they were still doing the nastiness of impeachment. But we got it signed finally, and it got signed into law yesterday. All countries are now in agreement and we are ready to go. We also have the Chinese trade agreement in place. We're ready to go. So we have a lot of good economic indicators that are going to help this economy. I just got a report this morning from Congress, and they were talking about the president's achievements of the pro-growth policies that he has pushed and that has helped our economic growth. And if you look at our GOP pro-growth policies, it has created that our fourth quarter economic growth grew by 2.1%. That's a big. That was in 2019, the fourth quarter of 2019. It grew. That is a very, very good sign, which means that the president's policies of focusing on the United States instead of on the global community has helped the United States economy. Now, if you look globally, if you look at the EU, you look at all the other, China, if you look at parts of Asia, I was just talking to a colleague in Singapore, and she says, yeah, our economic growth looks terrible for the 2020. But in America, we're growing. Because why? Because we focus on our economic policies and our trade agreements. Which is what I said when before the 2016 elections, and the President Obama was saying, well, what can you do? You can't change these trade agreements. What are you talking about? Every trade agreement needs to be looked at every so often and changed. You cannot base a trade agreement upon the economic policies of 2008 and see if it applies still to 2019. It doesn't work. Trade agreements have to be changed from time to time because things in the nature of the economy worldwide changes, and especially in the American economy because we are a growth economy. So we're looking at the international growth, economic growth, and they are doing very poorly. They're at that recession brink line. Now, America has really done great things for the nation, and there's confidence, there's consumer confidence, and there's business confidence. The business confidence is saying, yeah, we see positive growth going forward. But, and here's the big but, if by chance a Democrat got into the president's office and became president, you're going to see a huge recession because there's no more confidence. Because what has been the message of Democrats? It's been anti-business, anti-banking, anti-healthcare, everything anti. So they want more regulations, they want more taxes, businesses, they want more taxes on the billionaires, and they want more taxes on the millionaires, and they want more taxes on small business, all to support the political agenda of a socialist change in government. So the economy will literally drop if that should happen. If the Democrats get in, you're going to see a huge recession, especially if a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren, I can't even say her name, Elizabeth Warren gets in, where they have this anti-capitalist, anti-business mentality. And it's going to affect the economy. It's going to affect you and me. Now, those of you who are protecting socialism out there, I'm going to tell you right to your face, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong to support socialism. You're dead wrong to endorse socialism because it will fail this nation. You're going to see such huge drops in people's work, not being able to find work, in their salary, everything, because of all of the regulations and all of the higher taxes. They can no longer afford to pay you those wages that have been going up through the Trump administration. You have been blessed by the Trump administration in his economic vision. But if a Democrat gets in, I'm guaranteeing you this because I've seen it. We've already gone through it with Obama. I've told you this before, that during the Obama administration, businesses paused. They paused in hiring. They didn't hire any more people that they needed. They let some people go. Wages became stagnant. They never went up. Buying of capital goods never went up. Buying of equipment that they needed didn't go up. They just kept repairing and patching up equipment that they needed to keep their businesses in business. So under the Obama administration, we had that pause, and he was a conservative liberal compared to the socialist liberals that we have currently running for the presidency. So what drives the economy? There's probably about 5 sectors of the economy that drive the economic positivity or negativity depending on what happens in it. One of them is healthcare. The other one is technology. The third one is construction, retail, and non-durable manufacturing. Those are the 5 categories that drive the economy. The biggest part of that is consumer confidence. Now, healthcare runs along in its own based upon whatever is currently in place, and they're making good profits at the moment. But in whatever happens that drives government regulation down upon the healthcare industry, and whatever healthcare policies that we put in place for the American people will drive whatever happens in healthcare. Now, when Obamacare came through, what happened? Healthcare downsized. They hired that hatchet man that came in and started cutting and cutting to see if they could run leaner and meaner. Because Obamacare was not going to pay for everything that happens in the hospital. It doesn't happen. So, the other is technology. What are the items that are being built and thought of and imagined that will help you and I, and we will buy it based upon our consumer confidence, and if we need it, we buy it because we have a confidence in the economy that I will be able to make money. Now, I want to get into something that has been talked about, especially by Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and that is this wage equality thing. And they're making the argument that Americans are just surviving. Well, I look at this a lot differently. Americans are surviving because they have too much debt. They have not managed their financial lives the way that they should have. In other words, when you went to college, did you look at the other options available? Or did you want to go to that Ivy League college, pay $80,000 a year in tuition, go into debt with a loan, or could you have gotten the same education and probably even a better education at a state college, where the costs are much lower than Ivy League? Or did you go part-time to school? Or let's even take it further. Did you begin your college career in a community college where it's way less expensive? Get all of your 101s and 200 series classes taken care of. Much cheaper. And you could have worked part-time and saved money at the same time also. And then finally, when you wanted to go to a college to get you a 4-year degree, you did it. You were able to do it. But you chose a college that wasn't so expensive. Remember, just because a college is expensive and has an Ivy League, is known as an Ivy League school, doesn't mean you have to go there. You have to take into financial consideration of what you can do and how much debt do you want to mount up on yourself for almost the remainder of your life. So, Americans, they complain about they're not able to have ends meet, but the problem is that they haven't learned how to be financially responsible with the money that they do have. They're buying the new cars, they're buying the most expensive watches, they're buying everything that is beyond... I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. What is beyond, because when I talk, I use my hands, and they're flailing all around. But they decide to spend money or go into debt or use their credit card instead of thinking, if I need that purchase, and do I have enough cash to buy it with? And so everybody has relied upon the FICO score, when you should have been relying upon how much money do I have in the bank? Do I have enough money there to pay for emergencies when they come up? Or am I going to have to put it on a 19% credit card to pay for that emergency? And then pay through the nose trying to pay it down. So Americans, they complain, or politicians use it as a complaint, but they don't identify the issue that Americans don't know how to manage their money. I know because I see them come into my office every single day, especially during tax time, and I look at their debt and I say, how in the hell are you guys surviving? And some of them have to go out and get 2 and 3 jobs because they've got so much debt. Now, the Democrats are a part of this problem because they think everybody should be able to go out and get a credit card. Everybody should go out and be able to buy a house. Everybody should be able to go out and get a loan for education. But there are people that are not financially responsible for their life. So they go out of control. And they take out all of these huge loans. And they become debt-ridden. They have this big old potato sack of debt that they have to haul around with them every place that they go. And they don't focus on a way to pay down that debt and getting rid of that debt. And that's where the American people are having such a hard time, because they don't focus on their debt. And they don't focus on, if I have more debt than what's coming in, I'm not very smart. And that's why Americans are used in the political argument. And it's wrong. So our economy right now is booming. We are the talk of all other nations because our economy is booming. But because our economy is booming, business is going well, people are getting raises, people are getting promoted, they're looking for new jobs, and they're able to find them because there's lots out there. But our biggest issue is personal debt. Americans hold trillions of dollars of debt. If you want to survive in a good economy or a bad economy, you have to get your debt down. Right now, we're blessed with a really good economy. So if you want to get that debt down, go out and get that second and third job. Have all that money that you're earning focus on paying down that debt. Get your cars paid for. Get your houses paid for. Get your student loans paid for. Whatever you have in the debt column of your life, get it paid down. And if that means working 2 and 3 jobs, sometimes you've got to do it. Because once you get that debt paid down, you've got all that money freed up to put in your retirement investments, to do other type of investing in your money, so that by the time you reach that retirement age, you are set to go. But if you don't pay down that debt, and if you don't get your financial lives under control, when it comes time to retire, you're still going to have to work because you're still debt-ridden. So you've got to change your mindset. And that is, if you have debt, get it gone. So our economy right now is vibrant. And it should remain vibrant. However, Democrats in Congress are saying we need more taxes, so we need to raise them. But they haven't looked at the statistics. With everybody working and the economy booming, we have a lot of our cash flow into the United States Treasury has grown. It hasn't diminished. It has grown. And so now the Democrats are saying we need more taxes to pay for this, this, and that. They should be following the same philosophy as what Americans need to follow. Pay down your debt. Work on your infrastructure. Get that done, because that's number one priority at the moment over everything else. Infrastructure. We've got cities who have contaminated waters because their water systems and the pipes running underneath the systems are hundreds of years old. California, Los Angeles, their water pipes are bursting all the time because they're old. They're over 100 years old and they haven't been replaced. So all of a sudden you see water spurting up in the middle of the street in Los Angeles because the pipes have gone bad. So then they've got to shut down the water supply, repair the pipe work, and get going. If you had a really good infrastructure plans that had priorities set based upon what the needs are of the communities in the states, that's the way that it should be approached. What are the priorities? What are the most important things? Roads are important. Repair the roads and bridges. And the other infrastructure systems that support our lives. Again, the government needs to be fiscally responsible too, just like Americans need to be. We have a tremendous amount of debt, and it grows every day, and we really should begin to focus on paying that down. And how can we do that? If we have redundancies in government, get rid of the redundancies. If you've got people doing the same type of work in another department or another agency, get rid of it. Right now it's the best time because there are a lot of people out there and there are a lot of jobs out there. Move them over into the public sector, not into the private, into the private sector, and get them out of the public sector. Employment costs are the highest cost of government. It's really expensive to maintain all of these government workers. As you know, they've got really good government benefits, better than you and I. The retirement plans are beautiful. When they retire, they make almost more than what they're making working. So we need to start looking at the way we operate government and start streamlining it so it runs more efficiently. Our economy is good. Right now is a good time to do it. So let's be very thankful at the moment that our economy is far better, 100 times better than the remainder of the world. And why is that? It's because the president and his economic team took the time to look at what needs to happen for Americans. What policies need to be changed? What red tape needs to be done away with? What regulations are too abusive to business and need to be done away with so that business can operate freely? Now, those of you in California, in New York, you're screwed. You are really screwed. And you're screwed because you've got socialist politicians in there that want a bigger government and to have control over everything. They want control over how you work, what you do for a job, what you do in healthcare, what you do, and the list goes on. They want control over every aspect, and that control costs. So they need more of your tax dollars. So they will find any way to get more tax dollars. And that's why California has hurt the independent contractor. California doesn't want independent contractors anymore. They don't want people starting their own firms or their own businesses or their own consulting practices. They want everybody to be an employee so they can get their tax dollars. In September of 2019, the Assembly and the Senate and Governor Newsom signed AB 5. I know I'm talking about AB 5 again, and you're probably getting bored with it, but I'm telling you, if California does this and destroy the small guy who wants to start his own business or who wants to be independent from an employer, he or she should have that right to do that, because that is called being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, being a small businessman, being a startup. Small startups become big firms at some point in time, or big companies. But the state of California wants to make sure that everybody is under their hand as an employee so that they can get their payroll taxes and they can make money off of their workers' compensation, because the state of California has the biggest workers' compensation provider there. They own the workers' compensation there. Can you imagine this? When I was in California, I had two companies. I had a healthcare staffing company, and I had my accounting firm. Workers' compensation on my accountants, $1 for every $100 that an accountant earned. When I had my nurses working in the healthcare staffing side, it was $8 for every $100. You know how much that adds up? You know how much a nurse makes? Some of them are making $75, $90 an hour, depending on what they do. That cost me so great. I said, you know what? I am spending more money in workers' compensation and taxes. I'm barely breaking even. There are times where I can hardly meet my payroll plus my payroll taxes, because when you're in a staffing company, you may not get paid for 90 days out. You don't get paid when you submit your bill. It might be 60, 90 days out there before you get paid. However, by law, you have to continue to pay your payroll wages and meet your taxes and meet your workers' compensation. It was too much of a difficult for me as a small guy. And I had to make the business decision. Do I want to remain that company open? Even though we were doing very well, we had nurses in surgery centers and hospitals and skilled nursing facilities. They were all over. But it's that length of pay of 90 days that kills you when you've just paid $80,000 in payroll for one payroll period, but you're not going to get that money 90 days down. And so finally I said, this is too much. The state of California wants too much out of me, and I can't do it. So I shut it down. Now there are companies out there in California, and I believe they have the right to do this, is that they operate everybody as an independent contractor. And the independent contractor is responsible for their own taxes. And they're working for a whole bunch of different people. They're not just working for one single staffing company. They are working for this hospital, this hospital, this hospital, this healthcare organization. They're working for a whole bunch of different people. Because I know when they come into my office to do tax returns, sometimes they have 10, 15, 1099s from a whole bunch of different people. And the issue with that is that under the current tax law, if they become an employer, and this is AB5 is going to hurt a lot of people, is if they are an independent contractor and if they're working for a whole bunch of different people, that means that they're going to a whole bunch of different places. That means that they are running their business, so they're responsible for their malpractice insurance, for their uniforms, for their licenses, for their continuing education, for their auto expense to go from place to place under an independent contractor. And when you file a Schedule C for business or profession, you're able to take those expenses as deductions against the income that you've earned. And that gets reported on your 1040, and that's where you pay your self-employment taxes to the federal and to the state. Now, if you become an employee, W-2, you lose all that. It's no longer available to you. It's gone under the new IRS tax laws. So what you were able to deduct before as an independent contractor, you no longer deduct it. So now you've lost your deductions and your ability to reduce your income legally, and now you're subject to higher taxes and the possibility of paying more in taxes. So this is a problem in California. You have too much government control that has literally taken every single small business and business entity there, and California is squeezing you and squeezing you and squeezing you to get every little tax dollar that they can. And that's why you have a mass exodus of businesses trying to leave California. So, my point is, the economy in California cannot improve unless you get government off your back. California was the land of opportunity. Now it's the land of minimum wage. It went from opportunity. It went to grandeur. It went from having dreams of becoming a financial success and a business success to now California is focused only on the minimum wage individual and trying to help the minimum wage individual, but not the business. The businesses are the enemy of the state. And they are the ones that they attack to get more money. And that's what happened with AB5. You had an aggressive Lorraine Gonzalez, assemblywoman, who wants to make political points with the Democratic Party and to bring in more tax dollars of revenue into the state, that she didn't care about the small businessman. She didn't care about that individual who was trying to start a business. She doesn't care about them. She wanted to hurt them as much as possible because she doesn't care about the success of the business. She only cares about the revenue generation of a state. And this is what happens with all politicians in the state of California. And I say this so much even to the Republicans there. Are you Republicans or are you Democrats? Because you never stand up and fight. You never unite and stand up and fight. And when you see politicians there like Adam Schiff, who's who see this coming up, and you have Nancy Pelosi's seat who see this coming up in November, you never get behind any individual to fight and get that seat taken away from those individuals. You never do it. You hear nothing from the Republican Party about making change in the way to get politicians taken out of office. But instead, you just keep letting it happen. Even the assemblymen and the senators from the GOP, there's only a minute, small, itty-bitty portion of the GOP Senate and Assembly that try to do anything. You never unite. And I see no politicians, no GOP politicians that are uniting against what's happening in the state of California. So what my original message to Californians is, you have a problem in California. And if you as citizens don't stand up and start taking back the assembly and start taking back the Senate there, you're just going to be wallowing around in a non-existent socialist world where the government has control over you. And that's what's happening at the very moment that I'm talking. Every day that you remain silent, the more power that the socialist government gets in California. So that's up to you. But for the remainder of the country, we are focused on doing great things. We are focused on building companies. We are focused on lesser government. We are focused on being the leaders of the world instead of the followers. America always has to lead because we have the better voice in this world. That's why so many people are trying to get into this nation, because they see what Americans can do. They see the prosperity of an American. So, listen, I am very happy to say that this economy, the American economy, is getting stronger and stronger every single day. And it's because of you and I. We have the confidence at the moment in our nation. We know that we have a president that is supporting business and supporting job growth and supporting economic growth. And those are the type of people that we should be putting into office, are those that are pro-American, pro-jobs, pro-business, and pro-nation, a pro-nation, national feeling that America can do anything. But when you have politicians always trying to find an impeachment problem, always trying to find a lie, always trying to do something to hurt a nation or to hurt a presidency, then we're no longer united. We have to unite together, people. So put your politics aside. I know, listen, you may not like the president, but a lot of people in America voted for the president. And some of them who didn't like him still voted for him. And the question is, why did they vote for him? I'll use a business analogy. Sometimes when a business is doing very, very bad, and the leadership are not quite sure what to do, so what do? They call in this hatchet man. And the hatchet man goes into a private office and he starts looking at everything that's happening in the company, and he starts cleaning house. And yeah, some people don't like him because he's cleaning house. I've seen it. I've been there. I've worked with hatchet men before. But the whole purpose is to get that company back into line, making a profit again, getting out the politics in the company, and focused on what their core business is and what they can grow on. And after he has cleaned everything up, all of a sudden you see the company growing. You have a new feeling of confidence. The people who were so negative all the time, who were always complaining, they're gone. They're out of the picture. Because now what the Hatchet Man has done, he's built a team. And that team is focused on making the company stronger, more profitable, more responsible to the community that they're in. So, people don't like the Hatchet Man. Oh, they hate him and they will moan and groan. And every time they see him walking through the halls, they'll look the other way. And they'll start spreading rumors. But the Hatchet Man keeps on pushing ahead and keeps on doing what needs to be done. So Americans in 2016, some of them did not like Trump. But they voted for him. Why? Because they knew they needed a Hatchet Man to clean out the government. The government had become too complacent and too evil and too corrupt. So right now you have all these people, as President Trump cleans out the government, you have all of these people hating him. They don't know why they hate him. They just hate him because he's saying all this stuff. And it's stuff that needs to happen, but they hate him for that. So he's had 3 years of cleanup. So where do we sit? We have an economy that grows. We have a manufacturing output that grows. We have new housing that's growing. We have new businesses that are starting up and growing. We are an economic leader in the world because a Hatchet Man came in, and he still has more work to do. But the Hatchet Man came in and chopped away at a lot of corrupt issues that were infested in this country. And a lot of you are still out there. You're still complaining. You're still saying impeach. But as you yell impeach, we have new trade deals with 3 countries. Amazing, isn't it? So understand why Americans chose Trump. They chose him because they knew he could get things done. And he's kept his promises, and he's made this economic boom of ours the best boom in a very, very long time. So look at our economy and be thankful for where we're at. And see what else that you can do to even make your own personal economy grow. Get rid of your debt. Get rid of everything in your life that is costing you money that you don't need. And begin building your financial lives so that they are strong. You can be the Hatchet Man in your own personal life. And I encourage you to be that person. If you need help, let me know because I'll help you. But let's really focus on our lives, on our financial strength, on the nation's financial strength, and at the same time, let's be very faithful to our nation. Let's be very united for our country. That's where we need to be to continue this growth. So, in a couple of days, or 3 days, well, what is today? I can't remember today. It's Super Bowl time. It's going to be fun. We got 2 great teams, and it's going to be fun. Don't be like my friend Arlie, who runs out of the room because he's upset his team is leaving. Remember, it's not just about the game. It's about being with friends and family. And it's about having fun and talking and chatting and eating as much as you possibly can fill yourself with. We have 2 days of the year that are really for that. One is Thanksgiving, and the other day is Super Bowl. The 2 days that we can pick out. So be happy on Super Bowl. Let me know what you think. Hey, this is Mike Lodge. If you have any questions, and if you have any concerns, send me a text. 818-252-5682. 818-252-5682. Let's everybody go out today. Be thankful for a good economy, for a very good economy, for a great economy, for a wonderful economy. And let's be thankful. It's Super Bowl time. Go 49ers. They're my team. Everyone, I'll talk with you soon. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.